So I recently got back from a shark fishing trip in West Palm Beach, Florida, which is a few hours away from me by plane. It was me, a few buddies of mine, no adults, just a group of 18-year-old lunatics, and I think it is a good opportunity for me to walk through the experience with you and share travel tips that I've learned along the way. In high school, I've had the opportunity to travel to multiple different countries, multiple different states, alone, with family, with friends, all that stuff, and my mom is a massive traveler, so I've talked to her about all of this. Overall, I think I have some good advice to give. And I'm going to start with the who, what, where, when, why of traveling. And arguably the most important factor is who are you traveling with? It's important when you're picking friends to travel with that none of them are toxic, none of them are going to be a massive issue, they're all going to pay their fair share. And overall, you don't want to travel with anyone who you think are going to explode under mid-trip. Like, if it sounds like a living hell to travel with someone, then just don't do it. It's not going to pan out. And also, parents or no parents. Personally, I think if you have a cool parent around, then it's always better to have them. Whether they have a credit card that's going to get you better airplane tickets or hotel rooms, or maybe they can check you into a hotel you couldn't have otherwise gotten, or maybe they can rent a car and you can drive around that way. Parents oftentimes are going to make the trip go a lot smoother. As 16, 17, 18-year-olds, people aren't going to respect us as much, and it's really just nice to have an adult around. That being said, though, if the only parental figures that are options are going to be overbearing the entire trip and a nuisance, then I don't knock you for not traveling with them. This is, of course, if your parents are even going to allow you to travel without an adult. And while I've personally never had an issue, I'm not your parent, and I'm not going to be able to convince them one way or the other. Now, where are you going to travel? And the answer really is wherever. Let's be real here. The fun part of traveling is going to be you hanging out with your friends, not as much the destination, although it always helps. A good group of friends is going to be able to have fun anywhere that they go. For some fun ideas, though, the drinking age in Canada is 18 and weed is legal there. Puerto Rico, the drinking age is also 18 and it's warm and tropical, but I would be careful there because of crime and the recent natural disasters that have occurred there. Florida is awesome, especially certain parts of it, because you can either go like really nice upscale area or borderline the hood, and then you're buying drugs outside of your Airbnb at midnight. Wait, what? I don't do drugs, but my friends... Anyways, if you're not trying to go to Florida, Texas, California, where it's nice and warm, then maybe national parks are more your style. For me, I also like big cities, walking around downtown areas and going to museums. And before we get into the rest of it, guys, please be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. All of that stuff helps out the channel a ton. When should you travel? And there's a few different ways to look at this. It's going to be cheapest to travel during the week, but you're also going to be missing school. And also, if you go during the week, you might miss out on some weekend fun life opportunities that might be in the local area. But if you do travel during the weekend, then it's going to be busier and more expensive. As for traveling during a break, whether it be spring break, President's Weekend, or whatever, then those are going to be extra busy, but also more likely to have extra things to do. How should you travel? And personally, I hate road trips, but that's a me thing. Planes are super easy to travel nowadays, and I wouldn't worry too much about being a group of teens trying to get to your gate and everything. There's always going to be someone in an airport willing to help. As for which airline to choose, it really depends on where you're going. If it's a longer flight, then I'd probably recommend shelling out the extra money for a quality airline. If it's a really short flight, then something like Spirit or Frontier is going to be doable. An important thing for Spirit or Frontier that we got screwed over with on our trip to Florida, you can't check a bag or bring carry-ons without getting a lot of extra fees. It might still pan out to be cheaper, but don't think that the $80 round-trip ticket is going to be $80. Because if you want to bring a big carry-on, or if you want to check some fishing rods like we did, they're going to charge you out of your ass. Speaking of fishing rods in specific, if someone randomly is watching this that wants to do a fishing trip, consider mailing your fishing rods. At what we did, we got a massive PVC pipe, shoved them in there, put caps on each side, shipped it to an Airbnb. It was there when we arrived, and we shipped it out on the way. I guess that could go for anything, whether that be massive camera equipment or if you're doing something like that. What are you doing, though? If you have a trip that you might have to bring some massive equipment, let me know. Comment down below. That sounds like an interesting story. Another thing is, what airport should you fly out of? And not everyone is going to have a bunch of options, but if you're in a more populated area like me, then I have JFK, LaGuardia, Trenton, Atlantic City, Newark, and I think there's another one too. There's a bunch of airports near me. So when it comes to smaller airports, generally they're going to be better. Even if they might not have all of the fancy amenities of an international airport, the security line is going to be super short and you just get straight onto your plane. there it's also going to be simpler, so a group of stupid teenagers isn't going to be able to mess up as bad. Big airports, on the other hand, even though you can sit in a Chili's next to your exit, they're going to be more complicated, more room for error, longer lines, stricter security. Just be careful. Obviously, though, a lot of the time, you don't really have a choice. Airline matters more than size of the airport. So don't let that make a decision for you, just keep it in the back of your head. And now let's discuss hotel or Airbnb. Keep in mind that for either of these options, you need to be above 18. So if it's a bunch of 16 and 17-year-olds, make sure that there is an adult on the other side of the flight that can either check you into your hotel, your Airbnb, or let you stay with them. How horrible would it be to get somewhere and only then realize that you're not going to be able to get into your hotel because you're not old enough? Personally, I prefer Airbnbs. They're oftentimes going to be cheaper. You get a whole house to yourself. You don't have to worry about anybody else, and you get to save money oftentimes on food, because if you go to a food store, then you'll be able to bring all that back to the Airbnb and just cook in the kitchen instead of having to go out every night. Now, if you got a bunch of daddy's money, then maybe that's not too big of an issue, and you might appreciate the amenities of a hotel, but to each their own. Do research on the area that you're going, what's best there, what prices are like, and how much money you want to spend. And what tips do I personally have for traveling? And really comes down to paying. You see, there was a bunch of arguments when I did my trip to Florida as to who was paying for what. You got this Uber, you got that Uber, like what's going on? No one wanted to be shorted money. So maybe if everyone just pitched into a common fund, everyone put in maybe $100, $200, whatever, and then you either put it on a Visa prepaid card, or you gave it to an adult and then you got their credit card, or you all gave it to one kid who you knew was trustworthy and would keep track of all the money properly. Just instead of trying to have every single person do different amounts at different times, just pitch into one fund in the beginning, spend that money. If you need more, then have everyone pitch in equal amounts again, and then at the end of the trip, deuce it all out to people, anything that was left over. That way, nobody gets shorted any money. And as for planning or not planning your trips, it can be fun either way. It oftentimes depends on where you're going. But I'd say make sure that the intentions of your trip are clear. If you're going on a fishing trip, make sure you don't bring a friend who wants to tan all day in Florida. That didn't happen with us, but you get the point. And I think that's about gonna be it. Factor Ubers into the cost of your traveling and have fun. Traveling in high school shouldn't be this super stressful thing. You really shouldn't overthink it. Part of the beauty is going to be learning different things that you could have done better for future travel experiences, as well as doing all of that with your friends or family, because let's be real, when something gets screwed up and you're with your friends, most of the time you're just going to laugh it off. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. My name is Alex Bianchi. That's going to be it for this video. I already said that. Please be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.